to Work Life Cyber. Today we are going to talk about, well, first of all, let me say a few things. I am going to put out a study guide for Comptia Security Plus 701. So what I will be doing is putting out daily videos and probably use it as your study guide, as your study schedule. You take this material, you add it to CompTIA's material, and then I promise you, if you put in the time, you will get enough understanding to be ready to your Security Plus exam on one go. Yes, this is not magic. There's no trick. There's nothing here that I can tell you to snap your fingers and happen. But if you put in the work, you study a few hours or minutes a day, set some time, dedicate to this, and you will make it. So, first of all, I would like you to subscribe if you haven't already, and then click the notification button because you don't want to miss any episode. This study guide builds on. So if I talk to you about controls at the beginning of the study guide, I am going to literally just say controls down the road if I need to say use the word controls without explaining. So you need to understand the basics and then move on. So click the notification button so that every time I upload, you will be able to see and follow along with us. All right. So, a couple of you asked if I think what I think about um, the 601 versus 701. 601 has been around since I believe 2020, and then 701 they just released last year. It's not even, I think, October last year. And so people are thinking, hey, I bought the material, I didn't study for it. Now I'm ready to study for it. Should I buy do you think it's worth it buying the 701, or should I just, do self study, Google? My opinion and really my recommendation is that yes, get the 701 material, because one thing with CompTIA, and I highly recommend Security Plus because it's like the basic of all IT, right? In my opinion, it's not fact, in my opinion. So if you want to get any beginner's certification, I recommend CompTIA Security Plus. But they do make a lot of changes. That's why I was so hesitant to create a study guide, because by the time I'm done with this study guide, and 801 will probably be available, and then I would have to do it all over again. When they are changing it, when they bring in an upgrade, it's not just one or two changes they've made. They've made major changes. You know why? Because CompTIA is really following all the trends and all the requirements that's happening in the world. So the moment they feel like things have changed, and if you've been in IT, all 12 seconds IT has been around, been popular, you know that everything changes so much. Now they have to include AI, right? Because AI has been around for so long, but AI gained popularity when ChatGPT launched last year. So now AI is everywhere, right? So that's the same way. And I actually recommend that you get the 701. Here are the changes that are shown in 701 versus 601. I put this together so that you can have an idea. You know, even when you're studying the material, you see that in 601 controls, they talked about it just briefly in 601, and they had three categories of controls. In 701, they have four categories. You already know the categories because they just split administrative controls and made it operative and managerial. So you know it. If you know administrative, you know it. But for the purpose of the exam, you will, when you go, you will be lost if you just studied administrative, right? So things like this are not just little, they are major changes that they've made. So all the many talk, all I'm saying is that yes, get the 701 material. Another thing you can do instead of getting the whole material is get the practice questionnaire, because they do have explanations on it, and do as many practice questionnaires. And if you don't want to buy the full-blown study guide, and then you can use this material I'm putting out to help as a guide. The reason I'm saying this, if you're pressed with budget, is that most of the practice questions have explanations. So if they talk about all the anything, and of course the practice questions are just practice, you will find out when you write the exam that most of the questions are from the practice questions, maybe reworded or something. So you have to understand it to be able to even know that they are repeating the questions, right? The practice questions are great, but don't go to the exam room hoping to see exactly that, right? It just gives you an opportunity to try all the questions and see how they form the questions. All right. And then, so 601 has threats. These are the domains for 601: attacks, threats, and vulnerabilities with 24%. Architecture and design. My daughter is crying if you hear it. Architecture and design was 21%. Implementation was 25%. Operations and incidents was 16%. Governance, risk, and compliance was 14%. Now, look, the domains have even the titles have changed a little bit. General security concept, which talks about controls, which is the general security concept. These are 12%. Threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigation are 22%. Security architecture, which was not in the previous version, is a whole 18%. That's a lot. Security operations is 28%, and security program management and overview is my head is blocking it. It's 20%. So, and I copied and pasted this straight from CompTIA's website. So I am hoping that this at least gives you what you're asking, because people are asking, do they need to? Yes, I think you should get the 701. Even if you're unable to afford the 701 material, get the practice questions. That will also help immensely. A few things that I want to recommend if you're studying for the Security Plus. I really don't want you to focus too much on passing. It is a very important aspect of writing an exam, I know, but I promise you, if you understand the things that are in Security Plus, the study guide, the practice questionnaire, if you understand them, it will set you up for great success in your IT career. Regardless of what you're studying for, you need the basics. So aim at understanding the material. And that's what one of my main goal in creating this study material, where I want to speak to you guys in a very in plain terms, right? I will project the technical definitions, and then I will explain to you using real life experience, real things that you can relate to. I'll do my best. Things that you can relate to. All right. So one thing I want to say is use CompTIA's original material. Go to their website and buy it straight from them. There are so many, including me, there are so many people who have come up with study guides and things. They are all great. We do a lot of research. We put a lot of work into it. So definitely use us. But I will say that don't Google these things. Don't use ChatGPT or any AI software to do this. What I'm saying this because let me give a very simple example. If you type in categories of controls in Google or any search engine, you will see that it has a lot of things that CompTIA doesn't recognize as categories. CompTIA has categories of controls and they have types of controls. But when you Google it, it brings up types of controls. And if you type in types of controls, it brings up types of controls mixed with categories of controls. All these are right when you read them, right? But when you go into the exam room and they're asking you, they're talking about what type of control is this, and they give you the question, you're talking about categories, right? But if you Googled it, you may even choose a type and make a mistake, something as simple as this. So definitely use the internet to help you, but use CompTIA's original material for guide and supplement it with people like me. All right. Okay. And so I already mentioned the next point, use all other materials, including this video, as supplemental, something to help you with your studies. Practice the questions, practice. CompTIA will sell you practice questions. I think it's about 1,000 questions. And if you buy the online version, the e-version, it updates a lot. You get more questions. So definitely practice, and don't just practice. Time yourself that you're going to use 1 hour to do the same time they give you. How many ever hours they give you now, use the same hours to see how many questions. So practice the timing as well. All right. Don't try to beat the system. Just practice. If you get a 0, you know that you have a long way to go. If you get 100, you know that, hey, you are ready. You're closer to writing the exam, right? Have a schedule and commit to it. Maybe you don't have time. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have a lot of kids and they don't sleep early. So you try to study maybe from 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. It's a sacrifice, I know, but something got to give. So, or you decide, I have my little sister, when she needs to do something, she wakes up at 3 a.m. before her kids get up to do till, so from 3 a.m. to and I'm not saying she's writing this, whatever she needs to do, whether it's she has a couple of businesses, whether it's putting out orders, whether it's studying, whether it's even working, her actual work, whether there's a project at work, she has dedicated 3 a.m. to, I think her kids wake up at 7, 6 or 7, to whenever the kids wake up. And I think and she's been doing it for so long, she just wakes up. It's like even if she doesn't have anything to do, she just wakes up. So that's some commitment. After a while, I think you get used to it. But you do what works for you. But by all means, be consistent and commit to it. All right. Do a mixture of studying and practicing the questions. Don't wait till you know everything to practice the questions. It will be boring. Study, study, study. And then when you finish domain 1, do a lot of questions on domain 1, even before you start domain 2. Do a lot of questions on domain 2. This can boost your morale a little bit, right? If you actually pass it before even studying it. So, and then mix up the areas, because sometimes you're doing networking and you realize that computer networking, and you realize that maybe it's boring or it's hard for you. Don't just stay there and be discouraged and unmotivated. Just go to somewhere else. Skip, bookmark it and skip and go to somewhere else and come back to it when you feel very motivated, right? Do questions, watch videos like these. Sometimes I will try and make it funny. Do things, don't be bored with this thing, all right? Just do things that work for you. All right, I need to go pick up my son. So, all right. So, and keep your eyes on the goal. The whole thing is not just to pass. The passing will give you a certificate, and the certificate will open doors for jobs, right? Not the only thing, but it will open doors for jobs, and then you will grow in your field, and then you can ask for promotion. And so it's just one step. I'm not saying Security Plus the will give you the promotion, but I'm saying it's this first step. Everything you're doing, don't just look at now. Look at tomorrow, look at the next day, look at your children, look at your friends, look at your parents coming in to even reap what you're sowing right now, okay? And then you can do it. It's not that difficult. I trust in you. And between these materials and your effort, I promise you, you will ace the Security Plus and ace any other certification. That I am here to help. And most of you know that I do respond to emails, but very late. Like some people ask me for interview preps, and by the time I get to the email, they already have the job or they don't have it, and it's too late. I still do the prep with them, but we can do this, guys. We really can. Don't worry about what is happening and what people are saying, and it's difficult. And yes, it's difficult, but we are going to put in the work and we are going to get it done. So go ahead, before you go to the next video, go ahead and set a schedule for how many hours you want to put in for every week. And if you need help, email me. I can help you create a very nice schedule, and we will get this done. All right, let's get you to the finishing line. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.